We look so cool.
Hello and welcome to
Accountability Christmas. Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas.
Dream. That was a great start.
So this is the first time we put pre-recorded videos. I nearly said TV language then. Pre-recorded videos on the website for your viewing pleasure. We just basically wanted you guys to not only have the files that we write you and the lives that we do. We'll do a welcome live on Sunday the 6th, and we'll continue doing welcome lives that whole week pretty much. But we also want you guys to have direct access to watch and rewatch informative videos. Sexy. Because I know that's what I do. With all the people I'm subscribed to and I pay for, I kind of like to watch and rewatch their chat. So we wanted to talk you guys through calories and how to align them with your goals, as well as the files. Emma?
Yeah, this is just going to be a bit of a quickie, but we want you to understand this about the calorie targets that you're about to be given, or that you're about to sort of set yourself. So the first thing that you need to know is that your calorie needs are a fluctuating number, and even the best and most in-depth calorie calculators don't take into account all the various factors that change daily or that are predisposed by your genetics or your makeup or certain conditions that influence your individual energy needs. Now, that's not to say that you need to be that like pernickety about all of that. It's just to say that this is a sensible start point, and from there we monitor and adapt, and that's how your calories work. So no one's going to know exactly what your maintenance calories are, nobody, and actually they're going to change daily.
Mm-hmm.
So it's having like a good ballpark figure to start with, and from there we help you make adjustments to reach your goals, whether that is fat loss, maintenance, or hypertrophy.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly what Emma said. Every calculator you use online, from a book, whatever it is going to give you a ballpark estimate of your calories. And given that Emma and I have done this for a joint number of 20 years now, having changed our own bodies and hundreds of others, if not thousands combined, we kind of can tell you what the ballpark to start with is. Now, where you end up, whether it's fat loss, hypertrophy, or maintenance, might look markedly different. But until we have your data from said ballpark, we don't know which way to take you. And as Emma said, it's so subjective, not only on you and your genetics and your body, but also on your day-to-day lifestyle, which, as we all know, hopefully by now, it changes. Priorities change. So, Emma, I'm throwing it back to you.
Okay, so basically what we want you to get from this is don't get too hung up on the start point, because I think a lot of people struggle with that, and probably one of the most common questions we get, like on social media, not so much from clients because obviously we help them with that, but would be where do I start? What's the best calorie calculator, or what calorie should I start on? And honestly, it doesn't matter. It just matters that you start. And now it matters to an extent in that if you're like, I'm going to start on 1,000 calories, that's going to be really hard. You're not going to be able to stick to it. So we do like to err on the side of caution a little bit. We would rather you were a little bit too high, and then we can bring you down potentially. But yeah, these are just your starting point. And remember that. And the art of coaching and what you're paying us for is to help you find what works for you. So there is not a magic number. It's working together with us and giving us feedback so that we can continue. Now, the only thing I kind of want to highlight and flag a little bit is that if you're coming to this and you're like, yeah, I do 3 hours of running a day because I'm a triathlete or something, then obviously we're going to need to amend these numbers a little bit. So if you are really highly active consistently over the week, then, you know, if you're looking at, we're imagining your step count is about 10,000 to 12,000 steps. If you are way over that, then you need to speak to us because we can probably increase your calories a little bit. But aside from that, most people are going to do really well on these like starting points.
Yeah. So just to kind of make it, we don't want to bog you down with info and video because we've got it all on paper in the files. And obviously you have access to Emma and I on Facebook. You just tag us and we will come back to you. But just to give you a generic start point, we tend to start most people on a calorie deficit for fat loss, women, at around 1,800 calories. And the reason why we start you guys there is because we tend to find that for a lot of women, maintenance is somewhere around 2,000 calories. Now, like we said, these are generic gem pop numbers. This is not specific to you, but it's a nice ballpark to start from. And most calculators will probably come out at around that for most of you. Now, what happens is we've had a lot of clients who start losing rapidly on 1,800 and never have to touch their calories again. We have people who find that they want to get the ball rolling a bit quicker. After a week, they're not seeing or feeling any changes on the scales. Usually we like to recommend 2 weeks, but we know this is Accountability Christmas and some of you are here for results. In which case we'll pull you down another 10%, which would look like somewhere between the 1,600 and 1,700 calories bracket. This is all for a fat loss goal. Now, under that umbrella, it's really important for health, for satiety, and for physique results that you hit a minimum of 100 grams of protein per day, ideally broken up throughout the day, for reasons that we can get into down the line. But those are the generic numbers for fat loss. Given that's fat loss, obviously, if we're talking about maintenance, if you like your results and you like where you are, then either you'll already know what your maintenance calories are because you'll have all that data to work up from. If you don't know, Emma and I would probably start you on about 2,000 calories and then monitor your weight, see what was happening and take it from there. And of course, again, using these very generic numbers, we're talking about hypertrophy. We're probably, if you're a woman, going to push you up to about 2,200 calories and monitor you from there. And like I say, the reason why I always say, and then we monitor you from there, is because until we have your data, we don't know whether or not we're in the right spot. Emma.
Okay, yeah. So the final part on this, I think we need to cover, and this is really important, is that if you are coming from either tracking your own calories or working with another coach, or you're on the EC method already and you're a grad, do not go back to the calculators. You have way more data now than you did before. So it's like, I'm so close to knowing, you probably know what you lose weight on, roughly what your maintenance are, roughly what your hypertrophy is. Your body is far more clever than the calorie calculator. So if you're starting and you're like, I've never done this before, I need somewhere to start, that's what the calorie calculator is for. You'll find it at the bottom of each page, depending on your goal. If you are, and that's on the website, by the way, which is linked in the Facebook group, pinned to the top of the group. So that is where you go for everything. One place for everything now, so people don't get confused with the app. But if you are coming from the EC method, do not go back and use that.
No. If you have data, and exactly what Emma said, even if you haven't worked with us before, if you know that you typically lose calories around 1,500, right, and you've been at maintenance or even in a surplus for a while, then maybe come down to 1,600, so just slightly higher, just in case. I mean, maybe the needle's moved a little bit here in the time that you've taken off dieting, and see what happens from 1,600. And if you find after a period of time you need to come down to 15, come down, fine. And yeah, the same thing applies to anybody that's been on the EC method. You guys should know by now, and if you don't, I'm disappointed in you, that your data
Santa is disappointed.
Santa, you are getting coal. I am not coming down your chimney. Oh God, it's all very you should know that your data is your calculator. That is your equation. Oh, I started losing here. Oh, I maintained here. Oh, I started gaining here. And obviously, Emma and I say this is movable. This changes. So the more muscle mass you start to amass, the more we're likely to have to increase your calories to keep you maintaining and gaining. And the same thing can work in reverse with fat loss. The more you come down, the more likely it is that at some point we're going to have to amend where you are. And the same works for maintenance. So data, ballpark data, done.
Ballpark data, done. Okay, I think that's it for now. We will see you in the Facebook group, and we are so excited to get going.
Oh.